Morning student. Today we are going to start our grammar book, Superb English Grammar, Book 3. And in this book we are having 26 chapters. Now, first chapter is Let's Revise. In this chapter, we are going to revise some grammar rules whichever we have learned in our previous class. First chapter is Let's Revise, and the exercise of first chapter is punctuate the following sentences. So now in this exercise we have to punctuate the sentences. So what do you mean by punctuation? So let's see or revise what is punctuation. What is punctuation? The word punctuation is derived from the Latin word punctum, or point, and refers to the use of putting in points or stops in writing in order to increase readability. So the question arises, why do we need punctuation? Because incorrect punctuation mark can change the entire meaning of a sentence. The main punctuation marks along with their uses we are going to discuss today. Punctuation allows the author's writing to be easy to read and understandable for the reader. There are quite a few punctuation marks, each having a separate usage. Incorrect punctuation marks can change the entire meaning of a sentence. Now let's see how many punctuation marks are there in our English grammar. First is full stop, second is question mark, third is comma, fourth is exclamation mark, fifth is quotation mark, colon, semicolon, apostrophe, hyphen, slash, ellipsis, mark, round brackets. A sentence always begins with a capital letter. We use capital letter to mark the beginning of a sentence, and capital letters are used in the following cases. A capital letter is normally used in writing for the first letter of the first word at the beginning of the sentence. For the first letter of the proper nouns like Kevin, Ram, Rahul, Agra, Varanasi, and titles are always start with capital letters. For the first letter of the names of the days, Tuesday, months, February, festival Diwali, or Christmas, for the first letter of the house, ships, street, newspapers, books, play titles, always start with the capital letter. For a person initial, always start with capital letter. For the word I we are used to write always capital letter. There are certain points which I am going to discuss with you. Capital letters are used in the following cases: to begin a sentence, to begin each fresh line of poetry, to begin all proper nouns and adjectives forms, or to begin all nouns and pronouns which indicate the deity. Here are some examples we are going to read again. For names, we are using capital letters. Months, we are using capital letter. Days of the week, we will start with a capital letter. At the beginning of the sentence, I is always we are writing in capital. After full stop, every sentence will start with capital letter. What is this? This is a dot, or in English grammar, we are used it as a full stops. Full stops. A full stop is used at the end of assertive sentences. Example, he drinks 1 glass of milk every day. After every day, we are going to put a full stop because the sentence is completed. It is an indication of completion of sentence. I am coming to the party. After party, we are going to put full stop. A full stop is used at the end of the sentence unless the sentence calls for a question mark or an exclamation mark. Example, Joyce went to the shop. The full stop used at the end of a complete sentence. Example, I went to the store for groceries. Second, use at the end of an indirect question. Example, he asked where the milk was. Full stops used in abbreviation also, but are often omitted now in accordance with the modern style. Like MA, we are putting M after M, we are putting dot and then A. Nowadays, we are writing MA directly or MP or UNO. What is your name? Where do you live? What are you eating? After these sentences, we are putting or writing a question mark. So, this is the symbol of question mark. A question mark is used at the end of interrogative sentences. For example, are you coming to the party tomorrow? Why are you upset? A question mark is a punctuation symbol placed at the end of a sentence or phrase to indicate a direct question, as she asked, are you coming tomorrow? These are the example of question mark. Use a question mark only after a direct question. Example, will you come over after school? So these are the example of question mark, and we are using it as a punctuation mark. Here are some points we have to discuss. The first rule of question mark is to end a direct question. Where are you going? What is this? Are you mad? Is this the place? The second rule of question mark is to indicate uncertainty. He lived till 1990 and was buried near his house. Gandhiji, 2nd October 1869 to 1948, was a great Indian leader. In a series of a question, what? He isn't coming? When did you speak to him? He's been hospitalized? Why didn't you tell me? Is he better now? So these are the series of questions. We are using question mark into making a series of questions. And now the fourth rule is to end a tag question, a statement followed by a question. His phone was stolen, wasn't it? She is a great painter, isn't she? So we are tagging a question mark after a statement. Now fifth, indirect question. Whenever we are asking indirect question, we are putting question mark. These do not require a question mark. John asked Mary to marry him. The principal asked him his name. Number 5, indirect question. Whenever we are making indirect questions, we are not going to use question mark. John asked Mary to marry him. The principal asked him his name. The asked is referring or refers a question. So the asked is refers a question, so there is no need to put a question mark. So whenever we are making question, always remember this punctuation mark. A question mark is always placed at the end of a question. Example, what are you doing? But a question mark is not used in the example, I asked them what they were doing. So the ask is there, so it refers a question, so we are not going to put a question mark. Now our next punctuation mark is exclamation mark. Exclamation marks is used at the end of an exclamatory sentences. We also add on exclamation mark after an interjection. Exclamation mark is used at the end of an exclamatory sentences. We also add an exclamation mark after an interjection. Example, look how tall the building is. Hey, how are you? Use of exclamation mark to point to show emphasis or excitement. Now the example is summer is in 3 months. Exclamation marks is used after expressions of surprise, motion, fear and delight. For example, oh, ah, look and hooray. Exclamation marks, we are having in this clip lots of examples. What a superb goal Giggs scored at the Highbury. I did not know you were here. How fine she looks. These are the examples of exclamation mark. You can see more examples in this image. In this image, you can see more example of exclamation mark. If you want to make a sentence stronger or more exciting, put an exclamation mark at the end. Now I am going to read these examples. He jumped into the pond. I have won £1,000,000. Help! Somebody has stolen my wallet. David won an Olympic gold medal. The dog chased the postman down the street. You can also use exclamation mark with command. Stop. Get out of here now. Sit down in your chair. We are using exclamation mark in imperative sentences also. If you are giving command, so we are using exclamation mark. Hey children, see, what is this? This is a comma. Why we need comma? Let's read one example. Because I like cooking dogs and kids is not the same as. Now, I like cooking dogs and kids. If we are not putting comma in between, so how can we understand this example? So, this is the example of commas. Here you can see the first sentence is correct. I like cooking, a pause, dogs, comma, and kids. After kids, we are putting a comma. It's not the same as I like cooking dogs and kids. So, the meaning is entirely different in the second sentence. Now, how do you use the comma and how we are going to use comma? Use comma to separate words, phrases and clauses when there are 3 or more in a series. For example, Sunny ran up, comma, jump and skip. The comma is used in many contexts and languages, mainly to separate parts of a sentence, such as clauses and items in list, particularly when there are 3 or more items listed. We use comma to separate parts of a sentence. Now, I am going to read few examples which are given in this image. The doorbell rang. Starling, Mr. Johnson. Jack, realizing he was late, started running to school. All of a sudden, the cat jumped through the cat flap. Yes, that is right. So we are putting a small pause after a comma. They are also used to separate items in a list. Julie went shopping and bought carrots, cauliflower, tomato, onions, and other food for her family. Here we are listing many items together to separate many items, we are using comma. So this is the use of comma. It is very important in our punctuation mark. It can change the meaning of a sentence also. We are going to study about apostrophe. An apostrophe is a punctuation mark that primarily serves to indicate either grammatical positions or the contraction of two words. It can also sometimes be used to pluralize irregular nouns such as single letters, abbreviations, and single-digit numbers. In this image, you can see some rules of apostrophe. Its rule number 1, use the apostrophe when combining two words. It is always placed in the spot where the letter S have been removed. Example, she's only allowed candy on Friday. Now here the S is hidden inside the, and you can see she and apostrophe and then S. So we are hiding or omitting IS, and the pronunciation, she's only allowed candy on Friday. Now rule number 2, use the apostrophe to show possessions. Possessions means ownership. Place the apostrophe before the S. Example, they found Miss Connor's gloves. Now examples, we can see in this example, Miss Connor's gloves. It means the gloves of Connors. In other example, we can see teacher's book. It means the ownership of the teacher on the book is showing by apostrophe. Now Rita's pen. Now Rita, and after that we are putting apostrophe and then S and then PEN, Rita's pen. So it's showing the ownership of Rita's on the pen. So these are the main features of apostrophe. After the revision of punctuation marks, we are going to start exercises which you can find on page number 5 in your grammar book. It is in first chapter. The first exercise is punctuate the following sentences. First exercise, where is the Sun Temple? As you know, any sentence which we are going to write, we will start with the capital letter. So in this line, we are going to write W capital. Where is the Sun Temple? Sun Temple is a proper noun. So sun, the spelling of sun, the S will be capital and temple is also capital. And then because it is a question, so we are going to put a question mark. Now in second exercise, Saina Nehwal is a famous sports person. Now we are going to write Saina Nehwal, S with capital and N will also be capital because it is a proper noun, and we will put a full stop after the completion of sentence. Now third exercise, we celebrate the Republic Day on 26th January. We, the W will be capital, and Republic Day is a proper noun, so we will start writing with R capital. Day, D is capital, on 26th January. January is a month's name, so we will write J capital. So these are the exercise of chapter 1. You will write in your copy. Now let's revise what we have learned today. We learned today punctuation marks, full stop, question mark, comma, capital letters, apostrophe, and exclamation mark. So keep learning. That's all for today. Work and write it in your grammar book. Bye-bye. Take care.